everyone, and welcome to my channel, Power and Redemption. Today, I would first do some housekeeping, so I would like to welcome everyone. Today, I am looking at the topic on a few things you should know about narcissistic abuse and why you were the target. As you may know, and you may hear the term quite often, narcissistic and narcissistic abuse. I am coming to you today telling you about my live experience. Welcome, Louisa. Welcome. I would like to do a few housekeeping standards at this time. And I would like to say welcome and welcome to my channel, Power and Redemption. And today I will be looking on the topic, a few things you need to know about a narcissist and why you were the target. And as I give my live experience and give my perspective on it, I would like to take the opportunity to let everyone know that they are free to subscribe or support everyone that is highlighted in blue. You are welcome to do so if you like. Please acknowledge, hello, Eritrea, hello. You are welcome to like and share. You are welcome to connect with others as you see it fit. So today I would be giving, it's as I would always say, it's not about bashing, it's not about trying to embarrass anyone. This is my story and I'm entitled to tell my story. It may not be applicable to you or someone else, but at least I have been admonished that I need to share my story, and this is what I would do. So welcome. How is everybody doing today? Hope you all are doing fine in Toronto here. It was a little bit chilly. I went for my usual walk. It is fall and it's one of my favorite season because the weather it's a bit chilly and it's conducive to walk, it's conducive to sleep. And not only that, I tend to see in fall, a lot of things fall. So the leaves, they fall off because they are not up from the trees because they are not applicable for the next season. The next season coming up would be winter, it will be snow, and they would not survive that season. So therefore, they have to fall. And sometimes I look at life and based on where life has taken me and the challenges of life, I appreciate and I understand that in different seasons, different things occur and some things have to fall. Whether you like it or not, whether you appreciate it or not, whether you see it coming or not, some things are not necessary for the next season, and as a consequence, they would drop and they will be lost, right? Hello, Louisa. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you for coming. And as I say today, I am giving my experience, my live experience on narcissistic abuse and why you are the target. I would also, if you see I'm looking off and on, I have my notes and pointers so that I would, remember or look at, what it is I really want to speak about. I will take the opportunity to greet each and every lovely one of you. I thank you very much for your support and I thank you for showing up here today. So without further ado, I will start on the topic at hand. And when I speak here, and I'm putting out that disclaimer, when I speak about narcissistic and narcissistic abuse, I am not a clinical psychologist, and therefore I am not speaking in terms of the illness or the disposition or what a psychologist may label the behavior and the social patterns of these individuals. I am merely speaking and sharing my perspective from a spiritual angle. So when I'm speaking about this here, and you would hear me exploring and continue speaking on my life experience with that, I am speaking from a spiritual angle. That this is somebody that has a reprobate mind. And when I say a reprobate mind, I am saying somebody who, like we all fall short from the glory of God. For those who aspire to a Bible, they know the doctrines of the Bible. And of course, we are mortal, and no one is a victim, and we all go through different things in life. However, I am speaking here of a person who, like myself, had a lot of traumas in their lives. So, what may have happened, they may have been abused at an early age, be it sexual, be it physical abuse in their homes by their parents. They may have faced abandonment. They may have faced rejection even before they were actually born. They were rejected by their mom or their dads who didn't want to take ownership, or if they were in the foster system, they were rejected, and they felt like they were not needed, or they didn't have a purpose. But I have to let you all know that each and every one has a role and a purpose here in life, right? So taking that, I would tell you, this is somebody with a reprobate mind. So for example, in my situation, it started with my mom. So my mother, she had that, she faced rejection. She faced, abuse on the side of her mom. So it was generational, right? So her mom would have faced it. Her mom would have faced it. My mom would have faced it, and it then comes down a long generation. And one may ask, how does this occur? What? Oh yes, Louisa, Chile is nice. So one may ask, how this occurred, what was open, what doors and so was open. And as I say here, I'm giving my spiritual side of it because that's how I was helped. That's how power and redemption came about. It was not by my power, but by the power of God given through me that I was redeemed. And there were a pursuit to power and redemption. So yes, so as I said now, in the home, and what you tend to find, you may have a lot of idolatry. And idolatry here stands for anything that you put on a pedestal or you have above God. So it could be man, it could be child, it could be woman, it could be boy, it could be girl, whatever. And so you have this level of idolatry. You have this level of, sometimes people are in a cult, right? So they pursue different things, different occultic practices and different thoughts. They read different things, they adapt different process. They even have evil altars open. And when I say evil altars, an altar here, I refer to a place where divinity meets spirituality. So it's that way. I'm trying to see the comments. I'm going to put this silent here, but just to ensure that I'm seeing all the comments so I don't miss a shout out. Hello, Cadella. Welcome. As I said, today the topic is on narcissistic abuse and why you were targeted. And when I say that, I mean, like, you were seen as, and we know we are not dealing with flesh and blood. I'm speaking from a spiritual angle. I am not a clinical psychologist, and I do not come across as one. I would only speak from a biblical stance and how I overcome and how I got help through dealing with the word of God, right? So when I speak of narcissism, narcissistic abuse, I am purely speaking in terms of a spiritual issue, right? So as I proceed, like I was saying, so one may ask, how does this occur? How did, you will end up facing the abuse? Why you said, like, you are targeted, right? So in every family, as I was saying, there are different things that are open, different access. The word of God in Deuteronomy 28 clearly shows, if you follow the ordinance, the commandments, and the precepts of God, these are the blessings. However, when you go against this, these are the curses. So in my bloodline, because there were open accesses and open will to things of the occult, things of witchcraft, there were open doors, like people had, there was strong spirit of pride. There were abuse from generation to generation, different things occurring. I myself as a child faced abuse. And what you tend to find when that occur, it is an opening there. And one may say, but why would God allow you to be abused? Remember, God give us as human beings free will, right? So there is free will. In my bloodline, there were access open that, of course, the devil could use and come and target me or target, my mother, target different things, because he would see the light upon you. There are people that God from birth, God gave them, God have a plan for their lives, that they would do great exploits. Like if I didn't have things that occur in my life, I wouldn't have a message. So I am not worried if it reaches one person on this live or in when somebody see the rebroadcast. I am happy because it's so there. A lot of people face these abuses and they tell themselves something is wrong with me. Why is I'm a target? Why it is like nobody seems to like me? Why I feel rejected? Look at the Bible and you would see that David, the son of Jesse had a lot of sons, but in today's connotation, we would say David was a black sheep. In those, he was all the tending sheep. His brothers, they were goodly, and but he was like the outcast, right? Look at the case of Joseph. His brothers sold him into slavery because he was one of his father's favorite. Okay, so as I'm saying that to say now, so the enemy now knows in each generation, if you're facing particular curses, and one would ask, how would I know if my family is facing curses? You do a spiritual mapping. So you look in your bloodline and you look for patterns. So you see how much people they are almost there to success, failure. You look at poverty. You look at this cousin, this aunt, this uncle, great poverty. You look at, for instance, in other instances, you look at divorce. You realize so much women and men in the family, they lack, you wouldn't see marriages, and then, or if you see marriages, they divorce. You may find again in your family, barrenness. So it's like a consistent pattern of certain things happening in your bloodline. So when you see that, even if you're a Christian and you go to church and every day, even if you're saved, but you need to have these things broken from your bloodline, because somewhere along the line, it could be many generations ago, someone had a door open that the enemy were able to use to affect your bloodline in a negative way. So as I say again, like somebody, when I speak about somebody with a reprobate mind, I'm talking about somebody with a Jezebel spirit. Strong pride, they're very manipulative, calculated, they are a worker of iniquity, and Jezebel spirit is not defined feminine or male. It could have, you could be a male Jezebel, you have that spirit. You could be a female Jezebel, because before you tell, oh, Jezebel is a female. Yes, in the Bible she was a woman, but her spirit, the manipulation, if you realize, she was able to manipulate the false prophets. She had them eating at her table. She was able to tell them, hey, let's proclaim a fast against Naboth, and whenever you see Jezebel, there is an Ahab. So I myself was an Ahab at one point. So the Ahab come home crying to his wife, Nahab don't want to sell me his vineyard, and she's like, don't worry, that's what you worried about? I would get it for you. So she went, hey, KK Thompson, welcome, welcome. So she was able to do whatever it takes through her manipulation, witchcraft, and control, and have Naboth kill and got his land. So somebody that is a narcissist, they have strong spirit of pride. They know that they have a problem in most cases. They think, oh, that's how I am and nobody could change me, and that's how I would proceed to be, and nobody, could tell me anything, and I've been so forever, and you don't know how hurt I am, and nobody care about me. I was abused and what. But we have a choice. I myself was abused, but I choose to be better, not bitter. But when you have somebody dealing, and remember, guys, we are not dealing with flesh and blood, but we are dealing with principalities, we are dealing with powers, we are dealing with rulers and spiritual wickedness in high places. So as I say to you all, when I speak about narcissism and narcissistic care and why one could be a target, I am speaking about somebody who is on assignment. So they have these attributes, very prideful, as in Job 41, that God tells us, a strong spirit of pride. They have a Leviathan spirit, that is the spirit. They have a behemoth spirit, that's the spirit of the enemy, that's the devil himself. Because the spirit of God, life is like that. You find pride on the side of the devil, you find humility on the side of God. So a narcissist there, they may appear to have a form of godliness. They may appear to be humble, but they have a strong, strong sense and spirit of pride. And narcissists could be on the work, a narcissist. It could be a mom. In my case, it was my mother. It was husbands. It could be a child. It could be your co-worker. It could be, they all about and everywhere. So it's not like, it's a spirit. Life is spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. We are the only beings that carry flesh or body. If another spirit want to operate, they have to occupy a body. So therefore, the narcissists occupy the body of various people in various form to derail your position, to derail the call upon your life. They ensure that you go through enough hurt, enough abuse. You're not supposed to come out of it. If I tell you as a child, eye poisons in the form of a pesticide was replaced there for me to drink, right? I would, if you go back in my earlier stories, you would realize as a child, I remember, there were a bottle of what you call wine, and I saw my, the elder ones drinking, this wine, very sweet. And so I went one time and I took some, right? I was a child, I was about not more than 10. So I went and I took some, and the next time I went back to take, it was replaced with a pesticide. And if you drink that pesticide, you are finished. So who does that? Do you think somebody in the proper mind and trend of thought and good process and good thinking does that, right? So it has to be, it's a spirit of darkness operating in that person. This is not a spirit of God. So yes, so I'll go back now to the aspect of relationships. So as I said, because this opening was in my bloodline, where in my bloodline, yes, they want to honor. Thank you, Kay. It's honor life, right? They try to honor life. Thank you so much for that. Yes. So do you think somebody in the right mind would want to unalive your child? No, right? So you have to be operating in a different set of spirit. So therefore, as a child, you're growing up with resentment. You're growing up where you are called names. You're growing up where you are told you would be nothing. You're growing up where you had abuse. You're growing up where, all your everything you come up with was, you were let down. No, it's like every time you wouldn't be nothing. You would, these words will be spoken over you. So now growing up, your inner child now, you're looking for love. And sometimes you tend to look for love in the wrong places. to wrong relationships. You going out there and you just don't want to belong. You want to be heard. You want to be seen, right? And so you go out there and that's what you're looking for, because in most cases it doesn't exist at home, right? It's not something that you receive. And yes, as I mentioned, my mother was treated like that. It was her mother was treated like that. Her mother was treated like that. So it was handed down generational, right? But again, I could have been the same. I have children, and I could have said, you know what? Well, this was handed down to me, so I could just continue handing it down. No. Because if you, with the Spirit of God, you allow God to work within you and to change your heart, right? But when that occurs with them, they don't look for change because they see it as, I was hurt. And the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. Yes, I am not saying I was perfect. I am not saying that I didn't operate in toxicity and I'm this, goody two-shoe. I am a mortal, just like each one of them. But we have free will and we have a consciousness that we ought to know that something is wrong. Why do I operate that way? This is my child. Why do I feel so about my children? However, when you see they have relationships, they are behaving like saints. Oh, the love they show in relationships. When they outside with other people, the way they treat them, the way they talk to them, the way they behave. So something is wrong. So something is wrong with me then. Why does my mother show her lovers this care and attention? Why does her in-laws get the best of everything? Why is that X is Y and Y is Z, and when coming to me, I am treated a little different? So all that is setting the stage for your demise. And of course, as you grow up, you get attracted to these people. So what you may find in your romantic life, a narcissist is there to open arms, right? Your friends, open arms. They are there because you are attracted to this. This is what you know. And as people say, spirit attract spirit, right? And so you tend to see that occurring and in a recurring pattern over and over again. So as I said, the opening was there. The stage was set. Yes, I know I had welcome, goodness. Thank you for joining the live. And today, as I mentioned earlier, we are speaking on a narcissistic abuse and why you were the target. And as I would say, when I speak of narcissism and narcissistic, I am not a psychologist, clinical psychologist. So I am not here to diagnose. And psychologists would say is a person with a disorder, social disorder. But I would look at it from a spiritual connotation, because I had to deal with it from a spiritual angle, and this is how I overcome, right? Through spiritual. And that when I say spiritual, I'm talking through the Word of God, through Jesus Christ himself. So as I said, and someone would say, but why would you face it? As what I was said as a child, and anytime children, whatever the male, female of the child, once your child faces abuse of any kind, particular sexually abused, they need to be counseled and they need to receive deliverance, point blank. Because once that occurs, no help, and that child grew up, you grow up like your self-esteem is destroyed, because the role of these things is to destroy the child. And in most times, this is a gifted child. This is a child that would work with the will of God. This is a child who would help others, and therefore at a very early age they are being derailed. They are trying to derail their purpose. They try to derail the calling of that child. And most times your family know who you are from birth, because I can tell you very young, I would dream certain things and I would tell my family, hey, this is what I dream. and it comes true, right? So if I'm early up, they tend to know who this child is, what this child about, and they seek to derail. And again, it's not flesh and blood. So even if I speak about the and family, we ought to know that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And the attack is not flesh and blood because it's your own family and your husband who you think, well, we married and this person's supposed to love me and we're supposed to live happily ever after. No one would think that you would have to be no contact with your mom and no contact with your uncle and no contact. And when I say no contact, you have to forgive them. But when the pattern is continuous, so you have to, separate yourself. So as I was saying, the door was open. So it was in my bloodline. This abuse, the spirit of pride, the spirit of poverty, the spirit of incest. You tend to have, you see spirit of almost there success. You have a strong spirit of fear. You have idolatry. You have people that practicing occult. You have all these things. So yes, it's a child, and you may say, why God allow this? But there is doors that are open, so the enemy has open and easy access to different people in their bloodline that have a call of God on their lives. So yes, as I mentioned in my life, I have this in going on. So therefore, I was a target from initial, right? God has a plan for each and every one. The enemy also has a plan. So, of course, growing up, I, always looking for love. You look for love in the wrong places because sometimes you don't get love at home. So, of course, you gravitate to anyone who comes with grandiose promises, whether they are future faking. You don't know because it occurred to me twice. What you don't know, you can't discern. And be guided, folks. Sometimes the people who are the narcissists in high position of power, they are in every areas in life, in work, in relationships, in the church. Yes, in the church. Some are pastors, prophets, evangelists. Oh yeah, they are everywhere. In governments, you tend to find a Jezebel spirit. And when I define Jezebel, I would tell you is not male or female, it's a spirit. So it's a highly manipulative spirit, one who manipulates, control. They are in deep witchcraft, and there is no, they don't repent. They are very prideful, right? And they are in all walks of life. So as I moved on and proceed and move on in life, I have this opportunity where I met this man in church. Okay. So again, and we have to be mindful, whether ladies or men, it came on very quick. And it was a period where I was facing, and again, the spirit of the enemy works with a spirit of fear. Wherever you find fear, yes, the Bible speaks of sudden fear, like something, I got afraid. But fear is something deeper. That's the emotion of fear. When you are fearful to branch out, you're fearful to sleep without the light, you're fearful of walking in the dark, you're fearful of I grew up as a child very fearful. Everything scared me. After dark, it gets dark at 6, whatever. I'm scared. You ask me to close the window, I'm scared. The kitchen is inside the house, I have to go for some water, I'm scared. So this emotion, a strong sense of fear. So the enemy always used that. So I recall having a relationship with a particular young man, left that young man because of the different type of abuses, emotional, physical, because I attract. You see what happened? You attract this sort of people now who are abused. So I attract me because of my background and where I'm coming from and how I was treated by my mother. You know, you would not account to anything, although I did well, excel, and I thank God for that. But she didn't see it as I would amount to anything. Your sister would be better than you. Oh, you wouldn't be this, you wouldn't be that. So I attracted relationship most of the time with people who had mother issues. So they were also rejected by their moms or and their dads. They were abused, be it physical, right? Abuse. And so these are the men I tend to attract. And I felt, okay, well, we have something in common. But not knowing this is not in common. We both needed serious help. This is toxic. And the relationship, of course, would be always turbulent because we both have coming in with same issues and similar things. So this is not a union making in heaven. And when we exchanging notes, because we both had to seek help, right? So when we exchanging notes of who got the most legs and who what told the most things, and then sometimes the tears coming, who could cry the most. But I always feel, you know, this guy, he went through this. I would love him enough that his wounds will be healed. I would love enough so that he would come out of this. That's how I always, you know, view things and see things. So, of course, despite, and also we have to remember, although we may have people who are not in our lives as you know, bringing us down, I also had my mom, my grandmother. She was the mother of my dad. My dad was an absentee. He migrated even before I was born, but his mother, she always seen me that I have a promise on my life. I have a purpose. She would say to me, I don't know, you know, when I, you know, do something wrong, she would never come across and use her mouth. And that's why we have to be careful with the things that we say and do to our children, our loved ones. And so she would never come out and tell me anything, but she would say to me always, and this stay with me up to today. God rest her soul. She has, you know, she has long gone. But she would say to me, I don't know what you're getting on with, you know, but you have far to go. And even as an adult, and I migrated to Canada, she used to say to me when I speak to her, you have far to go. And I used to say, but what's wrong with mommy? I'm in Canada. How far? Where else I have to go, you know? But she did not know probably how to say that she saw a call or she knew I had purpose on my life. So she used it as far to go. Yes, so as I would go back and say now the relationships that I attract. But I always feel, you know, I could love that guy out of his misery. Yes, we both, you know, exchanging notes, our trauma bonding and our struggle, love and so. But you know what? We are here now. Hello, hello, and welcome. Ego's Corner. Thank you for your support and feel free to connect with anyone in the blue that you have not yet connected to. And thank you for supporting. Yes, so as I was saying, and the topic today, Ego's Corner, is on narcissistic and narcissists and why you were the target and things you should know about a narcissist and narcissistic abuse. And as I say, when I speak of a narcissist, I am not speaking as a clinical psychologist because I am not. So I am not going to touch on the behavior in terms from a social clinical perspective, but I am speaking about it from a biblical or spiritual angle because everything that I am saying here is from my life experience. It's something that I experienced. Thank you, Ego, for supporting. And everyone, I sincerely appreciate all your efforts, right? And taking your time away from your busy schedules to show up here. I do not take the support for granted. Yes, so as I was saying, you know, you tend to attract this sort of relationships. They come into your life and they come in good. At the stage of it, it's like they are your ideal partner, right? They're here to help you. You all have the same background. You both have been abused, so you all gonna love each other out of the misery. You all gonna create a better path. You all understand what it is to be abused. That's what I thought. So that first relationship, I had to let it go because it wasn't doing me any good. Okay, but we're gonna come back to the relationship. You're gonna see how this is life is spiritual and how things work in cycles. And as I say, what you don't know as a person, you cannot discern. What I know now, I am admonished to share because there are a lot of people who may think something is wrong with me. Why am I attracting this? Why am I, facing this? Why is this difficulty facing me? Why? Not knowing there are openings, they may have been opened from your bloodlines that would have caused this to occur. As I speak of Deuteronomy 28, God gave us his commandments, laws and ordinances. What he tell us? If you follow my will, you do not support idolatry. And when I speak of idolatry here, idolatry is anything you put above God, a pedestal. It could be at one time I idolized marriages. I idolized the material things that I had. I idolized the relationship. I idolized work, whatever you put ahead of God in terms of worship. This is when you need to feel good. You dress up, you get your nails done. I don't see it as God that give you the ability to have peace, and so you look the things. So in my bloodline, there were open doors. So of course, the enemy could come in, he could attack, he see the call, he see those that has a purpose and the will of God in their life, and he's there, right? So in that relationship, I go back. So I had to leave that relationship. So I moved in on my own. And in that relationship, I tell you, I was experiencing fear because I was having strange occurrence, things coming in. I would be on my bed, and for some strange reason, I would feel like an appearance. Something comes and sit on the bed, and there is nobody there. So I was having all this, different things happening to me. So I now proceed, of course, I seek God. I went to church. I was invited to church and I went to church. So it was in the church that I met my first husband, who for 18 years I was in this relationship. He is the father of my children. And so I met him there. So not knowing himself was also abused. So he has mommy issues and abuse issues as well. So I tell you, I attract. I'm like a magnet. You're pulling in this sort of people. You attract, like they hunt you down. You easy to find. Like whatever it is, I'm an easy prey, easy target, whatever they see. And these people don't target people without purpose. Because remember, we're dealing with spirits, right? So they would see something on you. Excuse me 1 minute, guys. Thank you for holding. Yes, so they would see something in you. They attract people they come after people with purpose. So of course, you're looking for love, and we could compare notes. Oh yes, this happened to me. Yes, my mother told me. Oh yes, that happened to me too. Yes. So we counting off, who has the most hot notes, who has the most trauma notes, right? And I'm thinking, of course, I could help heal him. I could love him enough. We could have a relationship and it would be happy ever after. But it never happens that way because they're attracted to you and they are sent to you. You are a target. So of course he came along and he started talking to me in the space. We met and got married in the same year. Very quick. So he came in, like, and as the narcissist would come in, there are stages. So idealized, that's the ideal partner, the love bombing, future fake. You know, we're going to have this, we're going to do this together. I love you, we're going to this, we're going to that, we're going to this. But I can recall distinctively, I knew, in making that decision, I felt, and then the Spirit of God would tell me, this is not the right decision to make, right? But how God works, He gives us free will. And sometimes it's not the right decision. You pick, you choose, but God permissive will and two God-fearing individual could work out the relationship, and it could be something wonderful, okay? But it has to be the two of you, not one person doing all the work and the other person slacking out. No, it doesn't work like that. Excuse me 1 minute. Oh God, the blood of Jesus. Yes, thank you. So it has to be two committed souls working to make this relationship work. And I can tell you one day this the guy proposed to me. And when he proposed, like the Spirit spoke and said, I am not a good person. And I looked to him and I said, oh, how dare you? How could you say you're not a good person? You are so kind. You are so loving. That was a flag, a red flag, a red blanket, a red mat went straight over my head. But as I tell you, what you don't know, you cannot discern. So I didn't realize it was God, He's speaking, letting Him speak so that I know I am making a bad decision. Lo and behold, I proceed, and God knows our hearts, and He knows that I would proceed. Excuse me, guys. He knows that I just have a little sniffle, but I'm okay. He knows that what it is. So I proceed, and I can tell you I proceed, and we got married. Because of course, the love bombing, the promises, I would give you this, I would do this, I could, we would achieve this, we could, do this. And I saw the potential in the young man, right? At the time, we were both same age, we were both moving. He was self-employed, but I was, moving up around the lines of management in the company that I work. So of course, the potential to do something great. And of course, look at me. There is no marriage happening in my family, and I am proposed to. You think I'm going to let that pass? Oh no, I'm going to grab that with 15 hands. Even if at the church you had other girls saying, but he promised me this. He said this to me. But wasn't he just going out with who and who? Wasn't he just going out? But he proposed to me, right? So you thinking, best thing since sliced bread. What could go wrong? Well, after all, the previous relationship, he wasn't in church. This one, he's in church. Listen how he prayed. He's a man of God. I met him in church. What else could be wrong? And I tell you, the love bombing went on. However, after hello, thank you for supporting. Chiameka, thank you for coming. So I can tell you, after the relationship occurred, it was 1 week that I saw that was an error. Because at least, you have to remember that the mask cannot hold up forever. They come in, false, they are sent, the Spirit, they are sent to you. You are target. Hello, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Need a space? Feel free to connect with anyone in the chat that you haven't connected with as yet, and they would respond back to you. So, as I was saying, and today the topic I am speaking on is why you were chosen by a narcissist, why you were the target of the narcissist. And as I say again, when I speak of narcissism here, I am not speaking from a clinical psychologist's position. I am, that is one the psychology would say with a sort of behavior patterns. I am speaking purely on my life, my life experience, and I am speaking on, it's my testimony, and I am speaking from a spiritual perspective because I had to deal with and overcome the challenge through a spiritual recourse. And when I say spiritual, I'm talking about the will of God through his son, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, right? That's the spiritual angle I am talking about. Because you have to remember, too, a narcissist would always be dealing with a spirit of witchcraft as well coming in. They dabble in different things because they don't want the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's not the God they're exposed to. They may appear, because as I said, my first husband was in the church. So they appear as if they have a form of godliness, but they lack the power of God. And they have a very strong spirit of pride. And they would not repent no matter what. They see they were hurt and they are set in their ways and they attack it. They came to you to derail you from your purpose and your calling on what God have for you in the life. You are a shining star. You may have come from a background where you have been abused. You may have come from a background where you were resented. You may have come, and both of you, in my case, both of us came from that background. But in my case, I was willing to realize I was operating in toxicity and want to change and seeking God to change me. But on the other hand, the spouse is set in his ways, don't need no counseling even when it was recommended, would not be accountable to anything because his role is to derail me from my purpose and my calling. So as I said, I had one relationship prior with one, left that relationship, attracted by another one, right? It's like I was a magnet. You attract. The relationship I attract was people that have faced this sort of predicament. Had abusive parents, mother abusive, father abusive. Their backgrounds was abusive. So I come from that background as well. So of course, perfect relationship, comparing notes. Who get the most abuse? Who was told the most bad things? Who was this? Who was that? Right? And this is toxic in all means, shape, and form. Life with self-love. Welcome, my dear. Thank you for supporting. Welcome to the live. Feel free to connect with everyone who you have not been connected with. They would return it back to you, okay? So as I was saying, so today I'm speaking on narcissistic abuse. And when I speak, I'm speaking from a biblical stance, not from a clinical psychology behavior standpoint. And I'm speaking on my experience. And we would interact, of course, and we would, this space is safe. Ask your questions. You have a question for me. You want to know what I missed, what I shouldn't have done. You have everything is welcome, okay? It's a knowledge learning space. It's a healing space, a space where it's love and forgiveness and walking in the power and calling of God and receiving redemption, okay? I myself, my redemption. Good day, doctor. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Feel free to connect with anyone on the live if you have not connected with them as yet, and they will support you. Thank you for coming. And doctor, today I am speaking, and as I said, anyone free to put your comments and your questions in the chat, and I would respond to you on it most definitely. So, as I was saying prior to you all entering the chat, that today my topic is on narcissistic abuse and why you were the target. And as I mentioned earlier on, and now that I know and I see why I was targeted, because as a narcissist, and as I speak here, I'm not speaking from a clinical psychologist, because I am not the clinical psychologist. So I would not, and the clinical psychologist would tell you this is someone who has a social behavior or some sort of psychopathic behavior and patterns. I am speaking merely from a biblical standpoint based on my lived experience, and I am speaking, hello, the journey of my life. I know you are busy. Thank you for joining. So yes, so when I speak about a narcissist, I am speaking about somebody who have a deprived spirit, a reprobate mind, somebody who may have gone, in my cases, some people, they may not go through abuse and they may be over pampered and they could still have that behavior. But from my experience, I am speaking of people who, like myself, have been rejected in their family, have been abused, have been traumatized in different forms, have been abandoned, and they are seeing it within the bloodline. There are certain spirit, when you do a spiritual mapping, you may see high incidence of divorce. You may see people in a cult. You may see idolatry. And when I speak about idolatry, I'm speaking about anything that you put above God. So for me, I idolize marriage at one point. I idolize relationship. I idolize clothes. I idolize image. I idolize. So anything you put above God, high regard, it is idolatry, right? So some of them, it may be idolatry in other things. You idolize your work, you idolize your spouse, you put him ahead of God. This is the position I'm talking about. Excuse me one. Okay. Yes, thank you. I'm right back. I'm just having a little sniffle, so I just, Yes, so this is the standpoint and where I am speaking from. And I am speaking, so when you have, and someone may ask, well, if you are a child of God or your family, how come you, hey, hello, famous unknown, welcome. And someone may say, but you are a child of God. How did you face that? And I would say, anywhere you have an opening in your bloodline. So for instance, in my bloodline, you had high incidence of these things were occurring. So my mother, highly abusive, her mother was, her mother was, and there are curses, that follow the bloodline. Somebody in your bloodline has to break it, right? It falls on the back of someone who has to overcome and break these things, right? So for me, what happened, so in my mother, who was verbally abused and otherwise, she herself was very abusive to me, right? And always would say, you ain't coming out nothing. X and X gonna be better than you. Y and Y gonna be better than you. I don't know why I make you, And you tend to have this sort of things. And coupled with this, and I was saying to earlier on the live, people who know of anyone, any child that has been abused, be it sexually, particular, they need deliverance. They need to be taken to be counseled, because what this does for a child, your inner child is affected. You tend to lack self-esteem. You look for love in wrong places. You tend to attract different things, and you tend to attract, yes, you would attract, because God have a call on your life. Remember, the narcissist is sent to your life to derail you from purpose. They see that particular child has a call of God on their life. That child, as some people would say, a star. They would go far. This is somebody who called to do great things in the bloodline. This is a child who would break the generational curses in the bloodline. The evil altars would have had time dealing with that child. So they are on assignment. So in my cases, I attract narcissists, people with deprived spirit. And I would also say to a Jezebel spirit. And when I speak of Jezebel spirit here, Jezebel spirit could be male or female. Somebody who is highly manipulative, controlling, wicked. They are into a cult because Jezebel had prophets on her side, but they were all false prophets. She was cunning. And where you find Jezebel, you would find Ahab, right? So her husband go complaining to her, oh, ex, neighbor didn't want to sell me land. Oh, I asked him and he said no. And she's like, that's what you're crying about? Come on. He had to deal with me. I'm going to deal with him. So she enlists her false prophets to put up a fast and to deal with Nabat, and she got him killed through lies, manipulating others, forging falsely. Yes, and having it done. Yes, doctor, it's quite true. Commitment and power of the Holy Spirit. That's what helped me to break the cycle, and that is what helping me on the road to redemption. Right? So, of course, you're on the right track. So, as I said, welcome empowered living. So, as I said, I attract this sort of welcome Sabona TV. Please, you're free to link up with anybody in the chat and they would respond to you, right? So, yes, as I was saying, I attracted these sort of relationships. So, of course, as I said, I had one relationship before where he had mother wounds and the relationship was turbulent, toxic. I left it. But you're going to hear about that relationship. Again, that relationship, it didn't end there. But I moved on to another relationship. There's someone I met in the church. And I did not know about discernment and what it is to discern and what it is to this. Listen, I just saw the young man. He has potential. I met him in the church, and why not? He lifting up holy hands like he know how to pray. Why not? What could go wrong? This is the man of my dreams. Thank you for connecting. Just excuse me 1 minute. Yes, thank you. So for me, what could go wrong? I met him in church. That's the ideal partner. Where else I should meet a partner? That's the best place. But I could tell you, as I mentioned before he proposed, so we met and got married in the same year. The relationship lasts for over 18 years. He's the father of my children. But I can tell you, before we got married, the spirit within him spoke, and he said to me he was not a good person. But of course, the love bombing, that he came in, he's a perfect person. Now, when he speak about, the different things, the future faking, the type of future we would have, places we would go, things we would do, things that he, did for me. How are you going and tell anybody now that, this guy is not, yes, Louisa, he did. And not him that speak. The spirit within him manifests. And they always speak to me. They always. Even as recent as about a month ago, they would speak. But I wouldn't listen, right? So he said he wasn't a good person. But I was like, come on. How could you say you're not a good person? You're such a nice person. So I would I totally disregard what spoke to me, and I went full in. And I can tell you, it was less than a week after the marriage, I realized I made a mistake. And I communicated to him because, again, as I said, he came in, it was toxic. And I wouldn't say, give him all the blame and say, oh, he is wicked, whatever. No, I myself was operating in toxicity. Because the notes that we compare during the time of getting to know each other was the notes of how much times we were abused, how much times they told us we no good, how much times we were told that, we ain't gonna come out to nothing. But look at us now. Look at him climbing up the corporate ladder. He is self-employed, he's doing his business. Look the potential. Oh, look. So we were comparing struggle notes that I, at the time, not knowing better, thought it was love notes. You see? So he came, he was on assignment and was sent to me. But I don't know. I'm thinking, this is it. And why not? We could make life work. We married. But as I said, in a week time, I knew, So I communicated to him. I want out. Let me go. You go your way. And he was like, we did this and we're going to maintain this. And you want people laugh at us? Because remember too, these sort of people with narcissists, the tendency, they are in church, they are everywhere, they are in high places of power. And there were people in the church who say, I give them 1 month. So the relationship went on, we passed 1 month. So then some say, we give them 6 months. 6 months pass, some say 1 year. The year passed, not more than 5 years. And, it was struggle love. So what I tend to happen is after he came in as the ideal partner, first incident that would have occurred, incident of abuse, be it verbally or physically. Then after we would have the reconciliation process. Oh, well, I'm sorry, let's try to see. Well, if you say I do that, then I'm sorry, but let's make it work and we're going to do better. And then you have a period where things are calm and then it goes back again. And then it have a period where he come now and he devalue you. So it may not happen right away. It's like, you know good, I shouldn't marry, I should have seen that, and you this, and the criticism, and the highs and the lows. And then what you tend to find, if you have we not agreeing on something, he resort to another person, or who you would call those flying monkeys. So you always have a clique, like, I am not supposed to have no friends. I am not supposed to, and when I say friends, I'm not a person who do friends, but I'm not supposed to have any family around, right? He has a problem, like, your family, and they don't like you, and he would always show me, like, they don't like you. You remember when who did this, and you remember when who said that, but he always have his sidekicks. So he have his people, when he put down his act of devaluation, he have his people he would go to. He would, read to sit to go and talk. I remember, a lady living who herself was she in church too, lifting up hands. And whenever we have a problem, he resort to her house. That's where he finds solace. And even if I said, let us go for counseling, nobody dare know my business. I'm not going to counseling. If you want counseling, you have a problem, go. And you cannot get him to reason. You cannot get the individual to see the bigger picture. Although he said, and of course, famous, I had no self-love. You click that, hit that on the head of heads. Because remember, I'm coming in from an abusive background where my inner child, I'm struggling with self-esteem. Welcome, Daisy. Welcome. I'm going to give you, add you as a moderator so that you can connect with anyone. If you are a content creator, feel free to reach out to them. They would get back to you. Yes, so I had no self-love. I'm famous. So I'm coming in, looking to that man for support. Put everything into that man, This is he would see me through. We would go through this together. I am beaten and broke down. I wanted to be chosen. He chose me. What else? This is it. So self-esteem below my foot. I'm not ashamed to say it. Now I'm on my road to healing. Now I am better for it. I am not bitter, but I had no self-love. I didn't even know what love is for myself, right? And if you don't have self-love, how could you love somebody else, right? It's that, or expect somebody to love you. No, nobody dare try that. I know better, right? But at the time, you hit the nail on the head. No self-love. But I wouldn't have known that because you fix up yourself, you take care of yourself, you have an all, oh, I love myself, I'm taking care of myself, I'm fit, I'm beautiful. That's what you think. But within the inner child was crying out for love and attention. So what you attract something coming in that toxic as you, the background worse than you in most cases, and so it's toxicity and toxicity. And remember, they come with an objective. You were not supposed to survive the relationship, and you were supposed to be worse than you come in. Hi Uche. Hi Daisy Corner. Yes, toxic. Yeah, very toxic. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go over all the comments. Yeah, I'm just right. So yes, the toxicity is horrible. Yes, so we both coming in from toxic background. But I myself looking for love, crying out to be seen, crying out to be heard. But I cannot get it from a person who do not want to seek help along with me. So I am like, yeah, because I'm like, what one time I say, you are the devil incarnate. Because how you could be going to church, you lifting up, and mind you, when you inside, you are treated horrible. But when we outside, oh my gosh, people in the church love him. Hi, Banter. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, everyone. People in the church love him because he has this personality out there. And when he comes in closed doors, he have a different personality with me. But remember, I told you, what you don't know, you cannot discern. And after he had, even but before we were married, the Spirit spoke and said, I am not a good person. But I said and convinced myself that he's just making a joke, because I wasn't thinking anybody would say, they are not a good person, right? Yes, they are in churches and they hold high position of power. They are in our workplaces. They are in hospital. They are everywhere. Everywhere, right? They are everywhere. So you cannot miss them. And I am somebody that I attract this. They see me and they come. It's like some kind of magnet force. So yes, we cope. Yes, it was struggle, love. Yes, after he devalue. Yes, we still in the marriage, but I can tell that he has discarded me because he start, moving, and so the stages of narcissism is they first idolize you, they love bomb you, they sweep you off your feet, future faking. Oh, we're gonna do this. Oh, I'm gonna take you to here. We're gonna do this. We are the ideal couple. Then you start to see they start devaluing you. Criticism. Oh, couldn't you have done this better? Couldn't you have said something better? Couldn't you have dressed better? Don't you see? So it was everything you do. So you have this partner. Everything you do is never good enough. When they do when he do, I try to compliment, even if I see the bad. And folks, I'm saying here, I am not a victim. I came in looking for love. And of course, based on my background, I wasn't delivered at the time. I didn't receive the healing. I didn't have no self-love. So of course, I in myself was in a toxic space, right? But I knew I needed healing. I knew probably if we have this sort of love enough, we would do better. Even if, he loved me as I showing him love, we could make it. So that's what my thought was, right? But he is like, no. So even if he came in and he swept me off my feet and he was the best person, best thing since sliced bread, and he's good, within that, after a certain time, he started devalue, like, devalue. Oh, you could have done better. Oh, everything was criticism. And then the discard, because you would see he has other relationships, other people. He spent time talking on the phone. He used to go to church and we go to church, everybody, oh, brother this, brother that. The best person when he out there, oh, sister this, sister that, how are you? The kisses, the hugs. You wolf in sheep clothing. Yes. So he operate like that out there. He is highly respected out there. But when he come home, passive aggressive. If you see you don't cook, or he expect you to do something and it's not done, the anger, the look, the stares, the things that he would get. And when he wants something, so the devaluation, and then the discarding. And then when he wants something done, the hoovering. Oh, he comes back around. Oh, could you do that for me, please? Imagine I was in a marriage, and because the person was self-employed, I was ironing and taking care of him to go out on dates. So I'm at home, wife, and of course I have my job, I did my degree and everything. So it's not to say, people might say, okay, well, probably you didn't work or you weren't educated. No, it happens. You in any profession, in any walk of life, because as I would say, they chose you. They saw purpose. They don't pick people who weak and is not going anywhere. They know who they're choosing, right? And sometimes they behave this way to strangers. Yes, of course, doctor. I'm Daisy. So the supply, he always has supply. They never do without their supply. Supply is a must because that's where they get their validation. That's where they feel, that they are something, because internally they are empty. So I would be ironing and taking care of the house and the children and what, and this man goes out on dates. I'm thinking he's going on a business meeting, on some sort of business transaction. He's out on dates. Later on, I would, get the manifestation. And I was supposed to sit by, put up with this. When the time come again, he would come back again. The loving, hovering and the loving. So you're living with them. You are in the marriage. You are already discarded and it's of no use. But you have no idea in yourself that, hey, I'm of no use to this man, I am here just feeling a purpose. He already checked out. But I am the wife. If whatever, I am one of the supplies. I am sitting here and he's out there gathering. Knacks are internally so damaged and abuse themselves that they can't change their behavior. Yes, it did happen to him in childhood, right? Thank you, Journey. It did happen. He did face abuse as a child, as I did mention. He had abusive parents. He was abandoned by his mom. And so, of course, he did face the same things that I face. But he had a spirit of pride. And also, when they're in that sense, they don't seek change, they don't seek redress, and they also dabble in occult or other things. So a lot of the relationship, you are here, and it's any and oh yeah, there are women who want to ask themselves, of course. Women are narcissistic, both cases. It's not a gender related, both cases. There are women like that, and there are men like that. Right? So his ego, of course, Daisy, would not allow him to change. So nothing that I tell him, if you think, or if you tell him something, you think you could control me? You're planning to come and control me? Why are you telling me this? No woman would be able to control me. And I stick this out. And it was painful. It was brutal. I lost myself in that relationship. I become a shadow of myself. I was having pains. I don't know where the pain's coming from. And at that time too, yes, I'm praying, but I'm becoming like bitter because I'm like, I'm doing all these things for you. I am here in this relationship, and this is what you're doing. And that's to tell you, they don't come in to love you, right? Hi, I'm Naneka. Thank you for coming. He didn't come in to love me. It wasn't about love. He came in with a plan because I was at one time when I had my last and third child, um, I was doing his business, handling, his administrative things from home. And I can tell you, he got me a car, brand new car. And when we were about to divorce, finally, when my eyes is open, guys, there were one time I'm here and it's like, I'm like, I don't know if I'm coming or I'm going, right? He had me and then he said to me one day, oh, finally, I got you in a position where I want you. Because there were one time this man came in the house, I saw in his car 3 gifts, 3 identical cologne, one for me, 2 others, same scent, same whatever. There were one time I would say to the welcome, welcome everyone. I would address everyone and so, but I'm having the conversation as the flow goes. At one time I was actually begging this man to, well, actually you could, well, it's like giving him a license to go and cheat, right? You could actually go, welcome, Cindy District, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining the live. It's like I so lost myself that I was giving this man the permission to actually, okay, you could cheat, but it's like saying it without saying it. So I can tell you, so he bought me a car, and that because I was handling the business at home, taking the children at school, and when he bought the car, and I finally woke up, and God, you see the thing about God, I am a child, I'm chosen by God, and somehow when I am down, I tap into a source. And I maybe did the blinders over my eyes. But when I rise up, power. Not my power, but God power. So when I was finally able to see, but no, this is what's going on. We had a home. It was sold because he future fake. And when I say future fake, he's telling me, okay, we're going to go back to the Caribbean and live there, right? So we sold the house. The check was handed to me to go to the bank to deposit it on an account, which I did, not knowing the account is on his name. So where the money is going, it's on his name only. But still, I'm like, I'm this person. I'm like, I don't come in looking for your money. It wasn't about money or what you could give me or what I could get. I come in, I'm looking for love. I'm looking that both of us can make it. Thank you, Cindy, for telling to double tap. I'm thinking we both could make it. We both could achieve together. So I'm not seeking money. But how I knew we were not on my name, when I finally put up with this antics and it was getting worse. And I see, I'm going to lose myself in this relationship. I am almost there. Like, I don't know if I'm coming, I'm going. I can't think. I'm somebody with a degree. Now I want to go back out to work. It's like, I don't know if it's to jump low or jump high. But the beauty about it is I was into volunteer. So I was parent council chair and I volunteer a lot in the community while I was doing the work for him. While I'm with him, I don't ask for anything. He gives me money. I take care of things in the house. He gives me the checks. I deposit it on his account, business account in the bank. And I don't look for anything because I'm like, it's my husband. So, we're in this together. So it's not that I'm here, looking for what I could get and hustling, Imagine my grandmother, God bless her heart, that's my father mother who saw purpose in me since as a child, because she used to say to me, you have far to go. And even when I come to Canada, I say, but I'm in Canada now. When mommy always telling me how far to go. Well, I had to go to Antarctica. I had to go to Africa. I always have far to go. Not knowing she saw purpose on me. She knew I had purpose, right? So as I was saying, so money I would, he would give me money and I would go and spend it on him, spend it on the children, give to charity, do something. I am not one of the women. I remember one day a neighbor stopped me and she said to me, out of the blues, I see you do it, you home and you doing things for your husband and what, but you should hide some money. I'm like, huh? Is she okay? I went and I told him exactly what she told me. Because I'm like, this is so strange. Why would I steal from my husband? If I'm stealing from my husband, I'm stealing from myself. That's how I saw it, right? So, so when I had enough, like I was losing, like hair was dropping off, and I have sickness all over my body because they make you sick. The highs, the lows, you're not sure if you're coming or you're going. True, Daisy, you have the financial abuse and control. Most definitely. Most definitely. Right? So I'm not sure if I'm coming or going. I'm a person, I graduated with honors. I had a degree. I'm like, I want to seek a job, but I don't know if I come in, if I go in. Like something, like I have this, I'm in a web. I have this blinders. I am stuck. I'm just cannot think straight. But I tell you, when I thank you for coming at Zaria channel. Thank you. I didn't know if I was coming or going, what day it was. But when I went to this and I call upon God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that answer by fire, the God of Daniel, I tell you, the grip he had on me was released somewhat. And I got up and I said to him, no, I had enough. I want out. Welcome, Chinemer. Chin, I don't want to brutalize your name, so I'll call you Chinny. So when my eyes were open, hello, and I was released somewhat from that stronghold, I said to him, I want a divorce. I want out. And of course, he would start to cry. Like, oh, because it's fake, start to cry. Oh, like if he's so care. I said, no. I said, you could cry me a river. I said, I'm not going to take this. I need out. So I told you, I filed for a divorce. And he was like, you're sure you wouldn't get anything? And at the time, I didn't mind. I didn't have a job. I didn't know how I would fend for my children, how I would fend for myself. But I know God, the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. My God answered by fire. So he would take care of me. It didn't depend on whether he gonna do what, and I decide I want out. He was working a little, you could see when I go into so he had his separate room and living arrangement. I had mine, but in the same place. When you go in there, you see have his things, his psychedelics hanging or whatever, but I serve a God who is alive and well, right? And God's word cannot return unto him void. So we went to, listen, the court, it was battle. I imagine my grandmother gave me a piece of land. Of course, you would have think that my husband would say, okay, well, you would go and deal with it. He went on my behalf to deal with the land. He went to the lawyers and he said, he put it how he wants to put it. So both of us, if anything happened to me, he gets it. And because like he was sure something would happen to me. But he don't know the God of Daniel as I do. And as I've learned to, right? So in court, imagine I have to pay him part of the value of my land, right? But at the time, it was my spouse, and what I have is yours, right? So I am not, oh, it's mine and yours. I had to pay him, right? Of course, these people exist and they're walking among us every day. We don't wrestle with flesh and blood, but with principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, and spiritual wickedness in high places. They do exist. 24/7, 365, and they occupy places of power, right? So of course we went to the court and he said, oh, he didn't give me anything, he's making X and X, he's doing. And the judge looked at me and the judge said, it seems like he is getting advice from somewhere. If you are able to tell me where the money is, I would still. I said, Judge, I have children with this man. I say, and if I were to take the money, because my daughters, I have very successful children. I said, if I would take the money, I would be doing my daughters injustice. So yes, I know where he hides the money. So he put away the money, everything is on his name. He took away the vehicle, he punctured the tires, so that the minute time I told him I wanted a divorce, he took back the vehicles, he punctured the tires. I had to take the bus back and forth, fortunate. God had answered my prayer and he did give me a job, right? So I was working and I take the bus. Today, I still take the bus. Am I less of a person taking the bus? No. Am I more of a person taking the bus? No. So he held his money. He went on. Today is more than 9 years since we not together. And he's still fighting because, of course, when you have to co-parent with these people is a different thing. Yes, he takes care of his daughters, he did. Now he has ceased, because whatever he thinks I'm going to take him to court, no, I'm not going to do that. God always help us, even when we think we can't make it. Yes, yes, yes. God always, right? So he's still applying pressure, trying to apply pressure, but this didn't end there. After 3 years, I attract another one. For those who would have heard the story or would go back, the one that I left before, again, mommy issues, toxic. It was after 20 plus years, he came back. So the narcissist never, it's not permanent. You have to pray and ask God. It is emotional, and I did suffer physical too. But with me, the physical though, I would fight. You would hit me. I ain't staying and take your lash. I ain't staying down. God always help us. Even think we can. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. So yes, it was physical, spiritual, financial. That's what the narcissist does. Financial, physical, emotional, just name it. Social, whatever. They come, right? So another one. Oh yes. Oh yes. So the one prior to him that I left and came to him because I felt this one I married in church. I said, well, if I tried it the first time and, he was in church and look how, I'm sorry, another one. Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, sorry. This is my testimony. And it would help someone. All is not lost. These people were not my kingdom spouses. I chose them. And my spouse, God has my spouse there for me. You see? So it's me that run ahead of God and pick. God gave me permissive will. So I went back to the other one, right? And of course, I've learned to call the police. Well, Daisy, the second one was a police himself, real live and direct police, right? So, and police with rank, okay? I felt I knew him for over 30 years because I know him before my other relationship. So what could go wrong? And he came in, man, and the love bombing. And I opened up and I told him everything that happened. And this is what occurred. And he's like, and what the flag was, he said, well, you think the grass was green on the other side. And you think, so you went? Yes, you went, but you see the grass in green. So look at it. He didn't even say, well, what was the flag there? This person didn't sympathize and say, well, oh my gosh, this really happened to you? I am sorry. What would make a person that once said, I love you, to end up, no. He came in, he was already, he already came in with a plan. I was the target. So it wasn't love. He didn't come in to love me. He come in to derail my purpose. I was not supposed to make it out, right? I was not supposed to come out victorious. I was supposed to come out deranged or don't come out at all, right? That is the objective, right? It's not about, oh, we coming out. And as I tell you, I am not a victim, because I myself, the narcissist I married to, they had me thrown in jail. Oh yeah, they would do anything they're capable of, high atrocities and exploit. God bless, come over all this with God's help. Oh yeah, by God's help, I'm better for it. But you all in here stories yet, right? This is just the tip, folks. If you all know the things, I have overcome, and I can laugh. I thank God. It was good for me that I have been afflicted. So I know of God now, and I know how I can overcome. My mother was a narcissist. All the relationships I attracted was narcissistic, because I am thinking I could love these people over there out of their traumas. I could love them out. Oh yes, you hurt this, and they always come like a victim. So the second one, now I went back because I knew him, so I was with him first before I met and married the one in church. Yes, your mother and your bloodline have a role to play in this. That is why you were targeted, because within your bloodline, you were already a rejected, an abandoned, sometimes an abused child. You are a child of purpose. You are a child coming to break the negative patterns in your bloodline, right? So you face it in childhood. So naturally, the narcissist, you are a narcissist assignment, because I grew up in this. This is my life. My mother was right to me. And folks, when I touch on my mother, it's not to embarrass or make my mother feel any indifferent. But when I tell you the spiritual warfare I faced from my mother, you all would know. Hey, this is just a joke. If all you think all you hear husband doing bad, wait till all you hear about my mother. I shouldn't be here sitting, guys. I shouldn't have been, if it was up to my mother. But you see the God of Daniel, the God that answered by fire, the God that told me that I had to forgive, and vengeance is his. That's the God that have me here today. Welcome, Chichi Mary. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here. No. But I am here. Now I know why I was fought so hard. Now I know why the abuses came, because of my purpose. Even if my message reached one person realized, hey, what I'm facing, those problems is not me. I did not cause this on my own. That is the message I'm here, the redemption message, the message of healing, the path to forgive. Despite that, you have to forgive them. You have to. It's a must. When you forgive, you're unstoppable. They can't touch you as they like. So as I was saying, marry the second one. Go to the second one. He came, love bombing, the love. And I told him everything I went through. Everything. And I thought that this wouldn't be my portion. Remember, I am a dreamer. I dream before when he start, coming. That's the second one. And start, so after almost 18 years left, 3 years after, I find myself back to square one, attracting the narcissist, another narcissist, one with mother wounds, one who is worse, more a passive aggressive, worse than what I left. Right? So I come in, I lost my cold, lost 2 years in abusive yeah, against her living. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. When your parents see you, you're like some families would see you as, it's your fault. Because look how nice this person is. Look how everybody liked that person. Look how quiet. Look the demeanor of that person. It had to be you. It's you that causing them problems. You're problematic. I always know, all those parents that glorify myself. Yes, so look at you, Why it's your fault because the person is the best thing that happened since sliced bread. So the other one, he come in, he pull off bombing, and man, I would get calls it was more than medicine. 3 times a day, 4 times a day. But this one, how God worked, he was long distance. So we didn't live together. So I am in Canada. He is in the Caribbean. But remember, I know him before my first husband. So I know, I thought I knew him, although there were the lies and the womanizing and the different things. But he was a little older than I was. So I'm thought, okay, well, change. I mean, people could change, and he come and he appear as a victim. And I'm like, and he was never married, right? So I'm like, how come you didn't marry? And he was like, oh, well, these people and them, you don't know if they're serious. Everybody is always the fault. They have no fault. Right? And as I come in, guys, I tell you all, I didn't have self-love. I came from a toxic background. So, of course, I would have come in with my own set of toxicity and my own set of problems. In my case, it wasn't parent force. My mother was herself a narcissist, and for her part, I was not supposed to be married, because I remember when I married the first time, she said, oh, look at you get people to marry you, and I never get nobody to marry me. This is what your mother would tell you. Could you believe? She wouldn't tell you, wouldn't have a mother say, okay, let us go and pray, my child. See, although the first one, welcome, Achiro, welcome, Osvaldo. Okay, although she wouldn't say, and she did say to me, don't marry, I have somebody for you. But knowing my mother, what you have for me, it's going to be worse than anything I could ever think of going in, right? I love you too, Osvaldo. So yes, I went in head on. But before I did, I remember praying. And I was told by God, be anxious for nothing, but with everything with prayer and supplication. I was also told in praying, I had this dream where I was warned about entering this guy's house. So I now had to go to the Caribbean to see, I wanted to see, before I jump into anything, although I said I know him almost 30 years, to see what's going on. So I said, okay, God, I would not go into his house. I would stay in a hotel. You hear the nonsense that come to my mind, right? So I am thinking that God is warning me of going to his physical house, not knowing house represent his life. And of course, I went and visit, and everything seems good. Everything probably hide away, or you see, me and the child mother is not together, but this child mother, I would tell you, she is one of the permanent supply of his. Right? She don't care about him or respect him. They are both the same. So not knowing she's a permanent supply, and she knows the life he lived. But anyway, I am clueless. Went. Then he came back to get married in Canada here. I saw some things when he gave me his phone and saw to fix something. I saw some things that I questioned him about. Not knowing this was a flag that I should discontinue the married process. But I went on. So he came, got married, and went back to his went back to his child mother in the Caribbean. I am here. I I don't know. It's not, she didn't move in permanently yet at the time, but she come and go as she felt. And I remember having a dream and seeing her in the dream. And I know because no praying, and I'm like, oh Lord, let the devil out of the way. This devil that appearing in this dream, Lord, fire and thunder. I don't know. I'm praying what devil take out devil, and you're dealing with the devil himself. So I praying, not knowing this person have an open access and open will to the person. So what I did, he ended up visiting. And I felt, and people have to acknowledge that the spirit, your energy cannot lie. When your body interprets something about a person, that's what it is. I felt in my body when he came to visit the second, and something wasn't right. This relationship, something here is up. I remember I went to work and planning to come, so he visited to take vacation. He flew out, to run out to the States with some excuse that, I was, not, how I was quarreling with him, and I'm just asking him a question, just trying to get the truth. Anyway, he left. So when he left, I didn't hear from him. Imagine, I bought ticket for him to come. I went down, buy my ticket, bought ticket for him to come because, plane, he don't have money and things bad and blah, blah, blah. Bought ticket for him to come. He came, flew out. So the ticket I spent from ticket gone because he left and before the time. But he already told the person in Grenada he was in the Caribbean that he's going to America. So of course he has to. I don't know. I'm thinking my husband visited me. So not knowing that he has to go to America because he have to prove to her that is in America he's going, right? It's not by me. Although she knows and she's aware and heard that he got married. But to her, it's like, whatever. She up there, he ain't studying her. I'm the one, right? So he came, went to America, left the house. Days after, tell me, I had to leave. Something telling me to leave. Something came and tell me, leave the house and chase me. The spirit, with your bad spirit that tell you to live. Right? They do transfer bad energies and bad and smells as well. I could tell you about they smell, the spirit within them and around them who, comes in would they give out this aurora. Because remember, these are people who sit in scheming and planning evil against you. You in there thinking good. They don't come in to love you. They never come in to love you, right? He flew to the States. Then after that, he, contact me when he reached back to the Caribbean and like, it's what you said to me, whatever. So me, pleasing, trying to give my husband. I was like, okay, I'm sincerely apologize. Yeah, but right now, I cannot take the apology. I need time to cool out. And I'm like, okay, take the time. And, Madam Bess, think you could love demons out of their activities, not knowing they have to be delivered and cast out. So somehow I'm buying into that narrative that, you need time to cool out, and I upset him, and it's me, and it's something that I did to offend him, even if your energy was telling you, and I question him, why are you like that? I suspect you into this, which it was true, because, I saw the dream, but for him, using it as an excuse of I'm coming after him. So it's like, what? It's my husband. And if my husband say I offend him, I should go to the Caribbean. I would surprise him and go in person and apologize to my husband. My dear folks, when I went down, I didn't tell him I was coming, and God have a way he works. I was, I feeling bad. I don't want to just show up. And, although prior, when we were, he was love bombing and coming, he said, you could show up anytime. You wouldn't see anything. If I'm not there, I would tell you where I have the key, or you would just wait for me and whatever. So I know, whatever happened, the days before I leave Canada, I cannot tell him. I can't get him on the phone, or, he's not answering. And somehow I didn't tell him that I am coming. So I showed up. Now, we're from the same country, so I know my way around. Went to the airport, take a taxi, went outside his house, hide out behind the house because your friend here could be a ninja. Remember, I'm a soldier in the army of God, right? When I hurt and I'm broken, I go back to base and I receive instinct, yeah, messages from the soul, yes. So I receive my tap up. So I hide out behind the house and say, when I hear his vehicle, I would, surprise him. So anyway, he drove up in his vehicle. So I reached ahead of him maybe half an hour. So I stood out behind the house and I waited there till he came. And then I heard the vehicle drive in. But something said to me, do not come out as yet. So first vehicle drive in, he drove in and I'm there. So next vehicle driving in. So I'm like, okay. And I'm here, he giving command. Come in, packet, this, turn so, turn. Then I realized, so before the woman came out, so I realized it's her, she backing up. I went in and I opened his door. I tell you, if he could have gotten an instant breakdown, he would when he saw me. He was like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? And I'm like, okay. So then she came out. And I'm like, hi. I said, didn't he tell you he was married? And so, it's not you alone he has. He with me. And he have a woman in the States. So, I'm like, seriously? I said, I didn't bagging and sign up for this. Right? And she was like, so you don't know he's an opportunist? You ain't know he up to no good? And this is somebody that has a child with this man. He is standing there. She is speaking like this in his presence. And I'm like, wow. So you didn't know you is not the first he did that to. You didn't know he did this to X and he also did this to Y and Y and Y. The tears came. Not because I was angry, but the shock. And fortunate, then she was like, oh, I'm going in the house. But he stood up and he said to her, oh, no, you leave. I'm going to join you. Could you believe? I'm the wife. And I am here listening to this filth. Anyway, he left. Said he was going to the Bible. And he did not come. That's why I was there for 5 days. He came when I was about, to go to the airport. He came, he's like, oh, he's afraid to come to the house because he don't want me to this and he don't want me to that. Like, excuse, like, if no, I am the problem, not him, right? And things is not what as I think and whatever. And she admit to me, remember I told you all I had a dream, and she admit to me, yes, I was here spending the weekend. I say, I know you were here because I saw it in my dream. And he was like, oh, that's not true. And I was like, it is true. So anyway, I stayed, I prayed and fast. That's the first time I know how to pray and fast without food and water. I prayed and fast for like almost 3 days. When in the prayer, when I got up, the word I got, I cannot put new wine in old bottles, else it would break. And I cannot put new cloth on old garment or it would rent. And I was like, God, what this word means? And it's like, and then I'm saying, okay, God, so that means that you don't want me staying in this house. Because I was praying, about the marital bed. Because then when I went down holiday the first time, he bought a new bed. So when I see the woman on the bed in the dream now, that means people sleeping on the bed, right? So I'm thinking, okay, God, you mean like I shouldn't, live in this house, so probably a new house. So I'm now already had plans looking, to get a property to retire. And, no, we don't look at what we go through. Never. He promised the word of God would never return unto him void. He said he would give us beauty for ashes. And this is his word. And his word stands. Right? He said, I have redeemed you. I know you by name. You are mine. And that's God's word. So I stayed, and then time to come back. He dropped me to the airport, playing and talking. I didn't say anything. And I'm like, okay, I still forgive you, I forgive you. But when I came back to Canada, I knew, things were different. So, it was just within COVID time. So for 2 years, so a whole year, he didn't communicate with this. I stayed. I'm loyal. I'm praying. I'm fasting for him. And then, so with the remember the stages of the narcissist. They first, you idolize you, love bomb you, they come. Then they would devalue you. You become cynical. You may not pay attention, but during some course of time, because at one time the phone calls start coming less. Remember, we are long distance relationship, so the calls are less coming. When I don't hear from you, like, oh, babes, the work or the this or the that, oh, network problems, So when I don't hear from him, I would say, oh, well, I know it's network and I know you work. You say, did I tell you that? So he would have told me these were the issues he's facing. That's why I don't hear from him. So when I start saying, oh, because in myself, I know that's a lie. Eventually, your spirit will tell you. So I said, oh, I know it's network. And mind you, on top of that, the child mother would find me on Facebook. Don't know how she find me because I don't have a picture. And she would cuss me off. Oh, you think so every time she's one of his main and forever supply. So anytime like he goes back to her, she would send a message via Facebook. Don't know how she find me. And she would cuss me out. Oh, you think he love you? Oh, you're wasting your time. Steady. And I would not tell her anything. God would never allow me. It's like, leave it to me. Do not answer. Do not touch. And the message come and I would tell him. But that is what he like. And I didn't realize. Because before, why I didn't believe too and why I went with him, he was telling me, oh, she's a girl. She normally come and she cuss out everybody I have relationship with. She have something to tell them. So when she came, because with his lying and manipulative ways, he already present a story that I expect her to do that. So of course, when that occur, I'm like, oh, I heard about you. You were one of those who come and go. No, this was a lie. It was a setup. Because he knows he like that. They like the narcissist, like that energy. They like the validation. They like the drama, the fighting, the cussing. They enjoy this sort of behavior and this sort of pattern. So anyway, I prayed and then he would come back periodically. So after almost a year, he returned back to me because I was working on documents for him. So he probably wanted to know where it was going and so he returned, would send when they respond to him, he get back to me. And then he started telling me, pray for me, pray for me. Sometimes he need prayer. And I would, of course, it's your husband. You pray. You lift him up in prayer. But remember, it's long distance, right? And I didn't see him for 2 years or more. And so I'm living in Canada. He's living in the Caribbean. So after 2 years, he came permanently. He came on permanent resident, but not to live permanently, and visited 2022. And when he came in 2022, I know this was it. I know this was a wrap. It don't make sense wasting time and you could tell the energy, the things, that's going on and knowing at that time what I start doing too. Now I start praying more. So God starts showing me things. I start to have, self-love. I start to repent. I start to, ask God, to deliver me from things, that I have done willingly and unknowingly. Things that my ancestors opened doors to allow this to happen to me. Because again, they target you with their evil. My dreams was showing me different things about this man. So of course I, praying. So at that time, God, I was given the book to write, my book I wrote, but it was on my mother, on the relationship with my mother. So in 2023, I released my first memoir, The Pursuit of Power and Redemption. So it was given to me by one of the books that given to me by God. So that's how power and redemption came about, right? So, I knew. So what it is, when I don't hear from him, it doesn't matter. I've come to God had just grant me some sort of peace. When I hear, we talk, and then he would say to me, "Oh, but you don't call. I love to see missed calls." I said, "I don't like to call missed calls." I said, so he would say, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, babes, I'm sorry, I said, saying sorry with repeat behavior is not sorry at all. So I've come to have some peace, to gather solace and strength through God, and then God starts showing me two cannot work together except they're in agreement. I know God didn't want, God had better plans for me. This is not what God had. And I just, so as I said, I saw him in 2022, right? After 2022, in 2024, which is this year, I visited. I told him he had my itinerary. He knew I were to visit prior to my visit. A few days before, and so I was going, I'm like, you know what? I am going to go and we're going to talk. I need to know once and for all, it's not working, because he would always say, I'm going to come after I retire. I'm going to come. And then he was almost there and he's not coming. So I wanted to know what is happening. I kid you not, a few days before I was supposed to go, he said to me, he has to travel. And I was like, okay, if you have to travel because something wrong with his son, imagine his son is 25, and the narcissists don't really keep relationships and maintain relationships like that. So he was like, I have to visit my son. I'm like, okay. So the day before I went, he said he's leaving that day, and I wish him well. And he gave me that false pretense that he will be back because, and again, he told me where the key was. Again, remember, I'm going to stay in his house, right? So he said where the key was, and I could, so that I can stay. I went in. When I went, he wasn't there. I didn't hear from him until 2 days I was there. And at that time, I knew this is it. I deserve better than that. I'm in a better space. I'm in a better place. I can see exactly who you are and where you are going. You would not reduce me to anything less. I had the best 10 days of my life. And again, God would always use, despite what? I had a dream and something that I want to achieve, and God allowed me to achieve it. So while in the Caribbean, and which I have, and I went and view my place, even if I stayed at his place, that was the best 10 days that I had. When I left the island and I was boarding the plane, I did not look back. I kept forward and I maintained forward because I know that relationship, it's over. I came back to Canada. I seek God. I ask God for the course. Where am I going? God, show me bit by bit what I should do. God does not orchestrate divorce. God is not a God of divorce. But because of the hardness of man's heart, he allows divorce to happen, right? And what God don't put together would not last. It doesn't matter what we do, how hard we try, what we think we could do. Once God and put it together, a house divided against itself can never stand. God didn't put these houses together. So one person praying, one person seeking, the house standing up on sand, any little water, it's gonna go. I returned to Canada. I heed the call of God. I seek God. He told me everything to do, everything how to proceed. I file a separation agreement. He took a while. He didn't want to answer. I follow recourse. I proceed to a divorce. And this, I have found peace. I am on the course of healing, redemption, forgiveness, seeking God for everything that He would do, seeking God to bring peace to my situation. The previous relationship, still, he's not doing what he's supposed to do. I refuse to fight. God always fights our battles. He is our strength, comfort, solace, and everything. I put everything in God's hands. He takes care of His own. He loves us, never leave us, never forsake us. I am in a better place. I am at peace. You have nothing, you don't go back fight with demons. You would always lose. You leave it as is. You pray that God change the heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh, if it's possible, right? Because they continue to affect, they continue to look for new supplies, they continue to destroy lives, they continue on their path. No matter what you do, no money enough you spend, no amount of investment, you invest money in bus, you invest money in travels, you invest your time, right? No, you try to pray out, you could pray out, but if the person don't want to be delivered, they cannot be delivered. You can love a demon out of demonizing. Nothing you can do. I'm thankful we had both similar backgrounds, but I chose to ask God to heal me because I realized I had a problem. I realized I needed redemption. I realized I have a call of purpose on my life. And therefore, I had to seek God. But they out in the merry way. They out spreading their demonic ways. But I would tell you, be careful. Now I am able to better discern. A few weeks ago, welcome Peculiar TV. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Feel free to get in touch with anyone here that you are not yet in touch or connected with, and they would get back to you. And this is life, and I am thankful. I'm in a better place for it. A few weeks ago, another one appeared, but again, long distance, and it's not, no, I'm better now, right? But he came in through a business. I was supposed to do a business arrangement with that person. And therefore, I saw that this person had some level of offense upon his life. But he's a good talker. And remember, and again, mommy issues. But he present himself. Thank you, Journey. Thank you. He present himself as one that is healed. He's not. But he was sent to me for a reason, because there were the last set of, issues, we are human. And the last set of issues with my first husband and how, I had thought I had forgiven him fully, but I realized there were remnants still there. I didn't fully forgive him. I still held things there. So when welcome, Beck and fam. So he coming in, showed me, so God will show me, be kind, extend the fruit of the Spirit. People would come in your life for a reason and a season. When the season is up, Release them. Release them in peace. Don't try to release them in pieces. No matter they come in, darkness gravitates to light. Some people, you never met them. You don't know them from Adams. But they come in and they are fighting spirit towards you. If you want to receive fight, you want to right. So when they fight you, that means you have a calling, you are anointed, because you don't know this person. You hold no ill will against anybody, and they're fighting you. Remember, if you have an empty fruit tree, nobody pelts at that. What you pelting, leaves? Are you, and first thing in the garden or wherever you are you okay? How are you pelting a tree with nothing on it? So they come in, they know who you are, they know whose you are. They are sent on an assignment. So the relationships, the two of them, they didn't come in to love me. They came in on their assignment by their father. But I have to remember, I have to keep the assignment of my father. Right? So it wasn't about love. They didn't come in to love me and care about me. And I was not supposed to make it out. Because the last relationship, 4 exes are no longer here to tell this story. You see? So I was not supposed to make it out. There are people out there who may be facing similar issues, similar trials. Remember, the battle is not yours. The battle is God. Right? So he said, when we face divers from temptation, he's there. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord lifts the standard against it. So as I close, and I greet everyone. Thank you, each and everyone, for your support, the time you spend here with me. For those who are still here, I thank God for you. May his face shine upon you. May he give you peace. The word of God would never return unto him void. He asks that we seek him first, the kingdom of God, and all his righteousness. And every other thing will be added unto us. He said we should worship him in spirit and in truth. Thank you, Beck. We worship him, for God is a spirit. He's a God of love. For the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. He loves us, and his plans for us is good and not evil, and to give us an expected end. Okay? And his word would never return unto him void. He asks of us, if we have faith in him, as little as a mustard seed, we ask the mountain to move to the middle of the sea, and the mountains shall move. And that goes for every mountain. And we are not wrestling flesh and blood. We wrestle in principalities, we wrestle in powers, we wrestle in rulers of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places. But he asks us to put on the whole armor of God, that we shall be able to stand. He say, having done all, we should stand having our loins got about with the truth, on our breastplate righteousness, on our feet shone with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, we should put on the shield of faith, that we shall be able to stand against the wiles of the enemy. He tells us to carry the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. He asks that we pray always in prayer and supplication, and watching unto in all supplication in the Spirit for all saints. So I am better for it. I am not a victim. I am a victor. Thank you, thank you. And I wouldn't come to you and say, oh, I was perfect, and, I came in all intact, and I was, amen, glory to God. And I came in and I was spotless, and I didn't do anything, and this man, he just do me this. No. I came in, flaws and all. I came in, I had my own issues. But I thought that having a partner, meeting someone, who we face similar ills, we would overcome. And I always recommend healing and counseling, whatever ways we choose to counseling. You could go to counseling through thank you, Beck. We see counseling through professional counselors. For me, I got counsel to God. I got self-deliverance to God. And if you ask me how I overcome, I had to repent on behalf of myself for my sins, the sins of my ancestors, those before me. I had to denounce, now that I am aware of the things that I did, because hurt people, and I may have hurt or caused hurt to others. Sometimes you come about blunt and you come about frank, and you say things, and how you say it, it may have hurt someone. I have trespass against others, and so I ask God for forgiveness. I denounce the things that I know that I did willingly and unknowingly and unknowingly. Because we have to remember, we sin in our thought, we sin in our word, and we sin in our deed. So at the end of every day, I ask God to search my heart and know my ways, and remove every wicked way within me, and renew within me a right spirit. Renew with me a right spirit. And O Salva, of course, and my strength is all glory and honor to God. Give me 1 minute. Let me get my charger. 1 minute. I'll be back. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate. I had to charge it. I don't want it to run down on me. So I have to thank God, for his goodness, his mercy. He's faithful in everything. I don't look as what I've been through, but I've been through a lot. And quite recently, I helped another person, as I tell you, through a business situation. So that person, I helped them, and I had them living in my place of residence, not with me here, for free. Right? They were supposed to do some work for me, and a lot of things didn't come through because of finance and otherwise. And in doing so, the person had a situation in their life where they were in trouble with the law before I know them. And once while they they call me, and I had to, give money, and I gave them, I paid, to have them released. And after, the person said to me, "You caused my problem." I'm like, "How could I cause your problem? I wasn't in knowing you when this occurred." And they said, "Yes, you did. It's because of you I am in this situation." And I apologize. It's like, okay, I'm sorry if I caused your problem. This person is living for free. I take care of the expenses. The place is mine. But I know God would make a way. And you let people be. Thank you, and may God bless you too, Thank you. And let God have his way, because he is faithful. And so I'll tell you that God is faithful. He's just. He keeps us from falling, and he never leaves us, and he will never forsake us. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for those who would see the rebroadcast of this. I thank you for coming, and oh yes, we tap into each other, Osvaldo. It's not easy, but it's worth it Because at the end of the day, why would I be bitter? If I bitter and you're hating and you're like, oh, this happened to me, or you see, because that's what happened to them. They are in victim mode. They are not willing to release what hold them bound. You know, like, I'm a victim, you see. Look what this happened to me and this, and I'm not willing to forgive. You have to forgive. You have to. When you forgive, I'm not forgiving for them. I'm forgiving for me. I'm in a better place. I now understand, my self-worth. I now understand the will of God on my life. And I'm seeing the progress. I'm reaping the benefits. So you don't be bitter. Of course, forgiveness is always for us. And it will be always for us. It's not for them. God loves us. And he wants to forgive each and every one of us. But some of us, we don't love God like that. And that's it. Thank you for being here and all the best. And thank you everyone who would see and return to the rebroadcast of this live. And thank you, and thank you for being here. Thank you. Bye at Beck and Fam. Love you all and have a good one. Thank you everyone for showing up, and feel free to connect with each other. Thank you.